Once upon a time, I and my wife embarked on a journey as Airbnb hosts, enticed by the promise of extra income in a bustling vacation spot. In the beginning, it was all excitement and potential. However, as more and more guests flocked to our house, the demands began to pile up. Our routine was straightforward. Guests arrive, we exchange a few texts, and they have the entire place to themselves. One evening, as the clock neared 10, my phone buzzed with a message from a guest. They claimed the water wasn't working in the house. Concerned about our guests' comfort, I offered to come over and check the issue. Little did I know, this simple gesture would lead me into a bewildering and potentially perilous situation. Upon arriving at the property, I noticed 2 cars in the driveway, which struck me as odd, considering it was supposed to be a reservation for a young couple. I proceeded to enter the house, my nerves tingling with unease. The place was eerily quiet, and the guests were nowhere to be seen.
My first task was to inspect the main water valve in the basement. To my bewilderment, it had been manually shut off. As I turned it back on, a chilling realization dawned on me. Something was amiss. Why had they intentionally turned off the water? And where were they hiding? My discomfort escalated as I decided to leave the premises and get my car to ensure my safety. As I was making my way up the stairs, the basement door swung open, revealing 3 imposing figures. These weren't the young couple I had expected, but rather 3 older men. The situation grew even more perplexing when one of them inquired if the issue was fixed. They all stared at me in silence, a heavy tension hanging in the air. As I maneuvered past them, I spotted a firearm concealed in one of their waistbands. Panic surged through me, urging me to flee. I made my hasty exit, not daring to look back. Upon returning home, I recounted the unsettling events to my wife, who insisted we contact the police. It was later revealed that the guest had used a stolen credit card, and valuable items from our house had disappeared. The motive behind the water issue remains a chilling mystery. Were they planning to rob me at gunpoint, or was it an elaborate ploy to evade payment? This nightmarish encounter forever changed our approach to hosting, ensuring we never visited the property when guests were present. Eventually, we decided to end our Airbnb venture and switch to traditional renting. A solo trip to Salt Lake City promised a refreshing break from the monotony of everyday life. I had little experience with vacations alone, but the idea of exploring a new place independently excited me. After researching accommodation options, I settled on an Airbnb located a bit away from the city, but offering an affordable and cozy stay. Arriving at the Airbnb at the crack of dawn, I received the door code from the owner and settled in. The day passed uneventfully, but as night approached, a strange occurrence shook me to my core. I was awakened by the abrupt sound of the TV still playing, even though I had fallen asleep hours earlier. Groggily, I turned off the television and fetched a glass of water from the kitchen. However, when I returned to the living room, I froze in sheer terror. The front door was wide open. Panic surged through me as I was certain I had locked and closed it securely before going to bed. As I approached the door cautiously, a chilling sensation overcame me. I knew I couldn't confront an intruder, so I grabbed a kitchen knife and tiptoed from room to room. To my immense relief, I found no one inside. I immediately contacted the homeowner, explaining the situation and expecting a swift resolution. Despite my exhaustion, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled in my bones. Struggling to fall back asleep, I awoke later to a faint noise emanating from just outside my bedroom door. My heart pounded as I contemplated my next move. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. Someone must have entered the property without my knowledge. My mind raced, trying to decipher how they gained access. The only person with the door code was the homeowner. Fear gripped me as I contemplated the possibility of a sinister figure lurking within the house. Summoning my courage, I dialed 911, keeping my voice low as I reported the unsettling events. While on the phone with the dispatcher, I heard footsteps moving all around the house, creating an atmosphere of sheer dread. The worst moment arrived when someone attempted to open the bathroom door, where I had taken refuge. My heart pounded in my chest as I stifled my cries, hoping that help would arrive soon. The intruders looted the house, leaving me shaken and traumatized. The police eventually arrived, but all my possessions were gone. My car had been vandalized. The officer explained that these incidents were becoming more common in the area, with criminals targeting properties for theft rather than harm to the residents. Nevertheless, the experience left an indelible mark, forever instilling a sense of anxiety whenever I stay in an Airbnb alone. On a vacation, I found myself in need of a brief stopover, a tranquil retreat before continuing my journey to a more extended Airbnb stay. This cozy two-bedroom Airbnb seemed like the perfect rest stop. Clean, empty, and tucked away from the bustling city, it was exactly what I needed. Or so I thought. As I settled into the property, the clock neared 8 p.m., and I was beginning to relax on the couch. Suddenly, the doorbell chimed, causing me to jump in surprise. I peered at the front door, a sense of unease creeping in. Steeling myself, I approached the door, where two men stood whispering to each other on the other side. As a young woman, I had a natural wariness of strangers, especially when alone at night. I cautiously kept the door shut and inquired about their presence. The men claimed they were there for the Airbnb, which left me baffled. I had booked the place, and there must have been some misunderstanding. I firmly requested that they contact the owner to resolve the issue, all the while maintaining a sense of caution. One man departed, leaving the other standing at the door, requesting that I open it so we could discuss the matter further. I pretended my husband would join me soon, hoping to deter any sinister intentions. However, the man's response was silence, further raising my alarm. Gathering my courage, I peered out of a small window beside the door and was met with a chilling sight. A group of around 5 people, all concealing their faces, stood in the driveway as if waiting for a signal. Panic seized me as I suspected this was not a simple misunderstanding. Summoning my wits, I retreated from the door and hastily dialed 911. As I whispered my plight to the dispatcher, I could hear footsteps all around the house, as if a pack of wolves circled their prey. The chilling sound of the front door giving way to pressure intensified my fear. The intruders stormed into the house, opening doors and rifling through cabinets. I held my breath as one approached the bathroom door, testing the handle. In the midst of my tears and panic, I remained hidden. The police sirens in the distance finally sent the intruders fleeing. When the officers arrived, my possessions were gone, my car vandalized. They explained that this had become a recurring issue in the area, with criminals aiming to rob properties rather than harm the occupants. Though the ordeal was likely unrelated to my stay at the Airbnb, it forever etched a sense of anxiety in my mind whenever I choose such accommodations. The memory of that night, the eerie whispers and the encroaching footsteps, continues to haunt my travels.